If you feel broke, stressed, and low-key scammed by the system, trust me, you're not crazy. The game is literally rigged. You just don't know the rules yet. That's the part nobody tells you. You've been taught to blame yourself, your spending, your lack of discipline, your Starbucks addiction. But what if I told you there are financial tricks baked into the system that quietly keep you stuck, stressed, and dependent? And most of them are completely legal, totally normalized, and sold to you as for your own good? In the next few minutes, we're going to pull the curtain back on 10 financial tricks governments use to keep you broke, why they work so well on regular people, and most importantly, how to quietly flip them in your favor so you're not the one getting played. So if you've ever wondered why it feels like you work harder, but somehow stay stuck, stay locked in. By the end of this video, you'll never look at your paycheck, your bills, or your freedom the same way again. All right, let's not waste time. The first trick is the most powerful, the most invisible, and the one that quietly taxes you every single day, even when the government swears they're not raising your taxes. Trick number 1, the silent tax you never voted for. Inflation. Let's start with this. If the government walked up to you and said, "Hey, we're taking 10% of your savings this year," people would riot. But if they just print more money, expand the money supply, and let prices slowly rise over time, most people shrug, complain about everything getting expensive, and go back to work. That is inflation, and it's one of the most effective financial tricks ever invented. Here's how it works in plain English. When more money is created without adding more real value to the economy, each dollar becomes worth less. So the $1,000 in your savings account last year might buy you less today, even if the number in your account hasn't changed. Your rent creeps up, groceries go up, gas goes up, everything goes up, except your paycheck, which always seems to lag behind. Over time, inflation quietly steals your purchasing power. You don't see money leaving your account, but your money simply doesn't go as far. That's a tax. It just doesn't show up on your pay stub. And who loses the most from this? Not the wealthy. Rich people keep most of their wealth in assets, stocks, real estate, businesses, things that often rise with or faster than inflation. But the average person, they keep their wealth in cash, checking accounts, savings accounts, maybe a tiny retirement fund they barely understand. So inflation punishes savers, punishes employees, and punishes anyone who doesn't own assets. It pushes you into a treadmill where you're working harder just to stand still, while the people who already own assets watch those assets inflate in value. But inflation is just trick number 1. If that's the silent tax, trick number 2 is the confusing tax. And it's designed so that you give up before you even try to win. Trick number 2, the confuse you into compliance. Tax code. Quick question. Have you ever tried to read tax rules and thought, yeah, I'd rather just stay broke? That's not an accident. The tax system is one of the most effective ways governments shape behavior, and most people only experience it from the employee side, where you pay the highest price and get the fewest benefits. Here's the game. The government doesn't just tax income. It rewards certain behaviors and punishes others. It rewards people who own businesses, who invest, who provide housing, who create jobs. It punishes people who only trade time for money in one job and then stop there. Most regular people live on a W-2. They get paid, taxes come out before they even see the money, and whatever's left is what they're supposed to magically budget, save, invest, and live on. Meanwhile, business owners can often earn, then spend on business needs, and only then pay taxes on what's left. Totally different rules. The tricky part? Nobody explains this to you. In school, you learn the Pythagorean theorem, but not what a tax deduction is. You learn how to dissect a frog, but not what write-offs are. And then watch. Think about this. 2 people can both make $80,000 a year. One is a salaried employee in a high-tax state with no side business, no investments, no strategy. The other owns a small business, writes off legal business expenses, like part of their home office, equipment, travel related to the business, invests in retirement accounts, and maybe even owns a rental property. Same gross income, very different after-tax reality. The system didn't change. The position they're playing in the system did. If the tax code is the maze that keeps you confused, trick number 3 is the trap that catches you before you even start your adult life. And it comes with a cap, a gown, and a "congratulations, you're in debt forever" handshake. Trick number 3, the education equals debt equals good citizen trap. Let's be honest, From the time you were a kid, what did you hear? Go to school, get good grades, go to college, get a good job. The story sounds peaceful, respectable, safe, but nobody told you the fine print. That for millions of people, this path now comes with decades of debt for a degree that doesn't always guarantee the income to justify the cost. Governments and institutions heavily push higher education. And don't get me wrong, education can be powerful. But when the system is structured so that the default path to being a responsible adult includes signing your name to tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans, often at 18 years old, with zero real financial education, you're not just being educated. You're being financially locked in. That debt limits your choices. You can't easily quit a job you hate. You can't easily move, start a business, or take risks when you've got a monthly payment chasing you like a debt-shaped shadow. Think about how this benefits the system. Indebted workers are reliable workers. You're less likely to rock the boat when you need that paycheck just to survive. You're more likely to tolerate bad managers, low wages, and inflation. Because your loans don't care if your boss is trash or rent just jumped again. The government gets to look good funding education, supporting universities, backing loans. But who holds the actual bag for the debt? You. Now add in the emotional programming. You're lazy if you don't go to college. You're a failure if you don't get a degree. Nobody wants to feel like the dropout, so people walk straight into the trap. And instead of teaching you how to evaluate ROI, if this degree costs me this much, what income is realistic on the other side? They just hand you a pen and a financial future you barely understand. Oh, and if you're someone still working on your path to financial freedom, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We've created step-by-step videos to help guide you on your path to mastering the money game. Turn on notifications to stay updated on all upcoming videos. But anyways, just know that getting you into debt is only one side of the trap. The next trick is about keeping you spending, even when you're already drowning. And trick number 4 is where the government, corporations, and your emotions all team up. Trick number 4, the spend for the economy, not for yourself, lie. You've probably heard this phrase, consumer spending drives the economy. Sounds harmless, right? But here's the subtle trick. When governments and media talk about the economy, they're almost never talking about your economy. They're talking about GDP, corporate profits, stock markets. And one of the easiest ways to boost those numbers? Keep regular people constantly spending money they don't have on things they don't need to impress people they don't like. Low interest rates, easy credit, buy now, pay later apps, credit card points, 0% for 12 months, deals. All of this creates the illusion that you can afford more than you actually can. Governments love to stimulate spending when things slow down because it makes the numbers look better. Companies love when you treat yourself because it hits their revenue targets. But you're the one trying to figure out why your credit card balance looks like a phone number. But if trick number 4 is about encouraging you to spend for the greater good, trust me, trick number 5 is about convincing you that your future is already taken care of, so you don't pay attention until it's almost too late. Trick number 5, the don't worry, your future is handled retirement illusion. For a lot of people, retirement feels like a vague, far-off problem. Governments know this, and they take advantage of it. They set up systems like pensions or Social Security and quietly promote the idea, just work, pay your taxes, and one day you'll be taken care of. It sounds comforting. Until you realize how many of these systems are under pressure, how much the rules can change, and how little control you actually have. Here's the trick. When people believe their future is handled, they often don't build additional streams of income, they don't learn investing basics, and they don't question whether their contributions match their goals. Governments get a workforce that shows up, pays in, and doesn't ask too many hard questions. Meanwhile, you may be unknowingly underfunded for the lifestyle you actually want, and most people only realize it in their 50s or 60s. If retirement promises are about your future, trick number 6 is about locking in your present by turning the place you live into both a dream and a lifelong bill. Trick number 6, the dream home lifelong leash game. Home ownership is often sold as the ultimate milestone of adulthood. You're not really successful until you own a home. Governments encourage it with tax breaks, policies, and language that makes renters sound like they're just passing through life. So you grow up thinking, if I just buy a house, I'll be set. But nobody explains the full financial reality. A house isn't just a home. It's also debt, maintenance, insurance, property taxes, interest, and often an emotional anchor that keeps you stuck in a job or city you might have outgrown. In many places, house prices were pushed up by decades of easy credit, favorable policies, and speculation, making it harder and harder for regular people to buy without stretching themselves to the limit. So what do people do? They stretch. They buy at the edge of what the bank says they can afford, forgetting that banks don't measure your peace of mind, just your risk of default. Here's the trick. A heavily mortgaged population is a stable population. You're less likely to quit your job if missing a few paychecks means missing your mortgage. You're less likely to take career risks, move abroad, or reinvent yourself. You're incentivized to play it safe because your biggest asset is also your biggest liability. And then there are property taxes, which mean you can pay off your home, but never truly stop paying for it. If housing hooks you with the idea of arriving, trick number 7, make sure you never develop the tools to question any of this in the first place. Trick number 7, the we teach everything except money strategy. Let's play a game. How many years did you spend in school? Now, how many hours of that time were spent on taxes, budgeting, investing, credit, interest, or understanding inflation? For most people, the answer is somewhere between barely any and 0. And that's not a random oversight. That's a feature of the system. Here's the uncomfortable truth. A population that doesn't understand money is much easier to manage. You get people who are smart in their professions, but financially naive in their personal lives. They can perform surgeries, write code, teach classes, and design buildings. But they're signing loan documents they don't fully understand, carrying credit card balances for years, and saving in ways that lose to inflation without realizing it. And because everyone around them is doing the same thing, it feels normal. Governments could easily push financial literacy into the core curriculum. They could teach kids how debt works, how compound interest works for you and against you, how to evaluate big financial decisions. But instead, you learn how to find the area of a triangle for the 97th time. Why? Because the system doesn't need you to be financially free. It needs you to be financially functional, able to work, pay taxes, consume, and obey. But even if you start learning, trick number 8 makes sure that when you're struggling, the help you get sometimes quietly discourages you from leveling up. Trick number 8, the help that punishes you for improving trap. This one is sensitive, but look, we have to talk about it. In many countries, there are government benefits designed to help low-income people: housing support, food assistance, healthcare subsidies, childcare help, and more. On the surface, this is compassionate, and for many people, it's essential. But buried in the design of some of these systems is a brutal trap called the welfare cliff. Here's what happens. As your income goes up, your benefits don't phase out smoothly like a dimmer switch. Sometimes they drop off like a light switch. So maybe you get a promotion that pays you $300 more per month, and then lose $400 in benefits. Financially, you're worse off for making progress. Emotionally, you get the message. Don't try to climb. Stay where you are. From the government's perspective, the system is means-tested. They're targeting help to those who need it. But from your perspective, it can feel like a rigged staircase where every time you climb a step, someone kicks you back down. And when you see that happen enough times, to yourself, your friends, your family, you might start to believe that trying isn't worth it. And while those systems keep you from climbing too fast, trick number 9 makes sure that any extra money you do manage to keep is very easy to give right back. This time to the banking system. Trick number 9, the we'll hold your money and take a chunk banking game. Just put your money in the bank. It's safe there. That's the narrative you grew up with. And yes, compared to stashing cash under your mattress, banks offer security and convenience. But the modern banking system is full of tiny, sharp edges designed to slice away at your money. Overdraft fees, minimum balance fees, ATM fees, foreign transaction fees, late fees, plus the big one, paying you next to nothing on your savings while charging you huge interest on debt. Governments and banks work hand in hand. Banks are heavily regulated, protected, and in many cases, backstopped by taxpayers if things go very wrong. In return, banks help grease the wheels of the economy. They make lending easy, which helps businesses, housing markets, and yes, government debt. There's also the psychological side. When credit is easy, debt becomes normalized. You stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and instead ask, "Can I afford the monthly payment?" That's how people end up with car loans, credit card debt, personal loans, and buy now, pay later balances stacked on top of each other. You're not just a citizen anymore. You're an income stream. Every paycheck arrives, and a chunk of it is already promised to someone else. Now we've covered taxes, inflation, education, spending, benefits, and banks. But there's one more trick, maybe the most powerful. And it doesn't live in spreadsheets or laws. It lives in your attention. Trick number 10, the keep you distracted so you never opt out strategy. If you were fully focused, financially educated, and emotionally calm, you'd be dangerous to any system that profits from your confusion. So what's the easiest way to make sure that never happens? Keep you distracted. Keep you outraged. Keep you chasing quick dopamine hits instead of long-term freedom. Think about how much time and energy gets eaten by political drama, celebrity gossip, endless scrolling, and rage bait. Governments, media, and big platforms all benefit when your attention is scattered. Angry people click more. Anxious people scroll more. Distracted people don't organize their money. You'll argue online for hours about politicians you'll never meet, but won't spend 20 minutes learning how compound interest works. You'll know every detail of a celebrity breakup, but not the interest rate on your own debt. This isn't just your fault. This is a system-level environment built on capturing your attention by any means necessary. Now, is this all a conspiracy? Not necessarily. It's more like a machine that evolved over time and now runs on autopilot. Every part of it is normal, common, legal. But once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. And look, you don't have to fix everything by Friday. You just have to stop pretending the game is fair and start playing to win anyway. So if this video opened your eyes even a little bit, don't just click away and let life distract you back into autopilot. Drop a comment below with the words, "I refuse to stay broke." That's your way of telling the algorithm and yourself that you're done playing the game blind. And now go watch the real math behind getting rich, not what you think, so you can take everything you learned in this video and turn it into an actual plan to escape. We'll see you in the next one.